Good morning and happy Thursday. How are you all doing today? I hope you are having a great morning so far. Or if you're watching this on the replay, then I hope you're having a good day, whatever time of day it is. Let me know where and when you're watching from. I can see I've got people tuning in live already, so that's great. Welcome to my series of videos all about cognitive biases, the shortcuts and trips that we sometimes take with our thinking. Your mind is designed to help you make decisions quick and effective decisions faster that look after you. The problem is it doesn't always do a very good job of it because these shortcuts sometimes trip us up and kind of get in our way a little bit. So that's what this series is all about. It's exploring these different shortcuts or biases that our mind takes, that sort of brain one thinking, that part that does the instinctive stuff rather than the brain two thinking, the logical stuff. The more we understand about these different biases, the easier it is for us to make better decisions for ourselves. And of course, we can use these understandings to our advantage when it comes to marketing and promoting our businesses and helping and supporting other people as well. So today, what are we talking about? Today is all about pseudo-certainty effect. Pseudo-certainty. So pseudo, false, certainty, being sure of something. So this is a less spoken about bias, actually, probably because it applies in some very specific situations. But we have a tendency to assume things to be certain when they're not in specific situations. So particularly if you've got sort of a multifaceted decision to make, what we tend to do is we take part one of that as being certain, so that because we kind of go, well, if this, then what decision would I make at the next stage? And so making our decision at the next stage, we've kind of assumed that the first stage is going to go the way that we want it, if that makes sense. So I can see one comment. Hello, Facebook user, that's waving at me, but I can't see any other comments yet. So I'm hoping that all the people that are watching are able to actually get involved and answer this. So I have a question for you. I've got a scenario and I want to know your choice here. So here's problem one. So you're about to play a game. This game has two stages to it, and there is a 75% chance to end the game without winning anything at all. Okay, 75% chance you'll get to the end of the game and won't have won anything. And therefore a 25% chance that you'll move into the second stage of the game. Now, if you reach the second, here's the choice. Which of the following options do you prefer? A sure win of 30 quid. So if you get to stage two, you definitely win 30 quid. Or B, an 80% chance to win 45 quid. So you have to make the choice now before the game begins and before you know about the first stage and what's going to happen. So the game's about to start. 75% chance of going out in round one, but if you get to round two, there's a 25% chance of doing that, and you can take a sure win of 30 quid or an 80% chance to win 45. Let me know in the comments which you're going to choose. Or if you're watching this on the replay, you can still let me know in the comments. I'm just looking to see if I've got comments coming in anywhere else that I can't see on my screen for some reason. Cool. Okay, I've got someone saying go on to stage two and take the 30. Okay, so you would choose or prefer option A, the sure win of 30 quid. Cool. Lucy Jackson says the opposite. Lucy says that she would go with the 80% chance of winning 45. So far, decisions split right in the middle. So if anyone's just tuned in, very quickly, I need to know which you would prefer. So you're playing a game. there's two stages. Stage one, there's 75% chance of getting to the end of the game. Sorry, there's a 75% chance of getting to the end and winning nothing. There's a 25% chance of getting past the first stage. And if you get past the first stage, you can either win guaranteed 30 quid or 80% chance of winning 45. But you have to make the choice now before you begin the game. Okay. Now, problem 2. Which of the following do you prefer? A chance to win £30, a 25% chance to win £30, or a 20% chance to win £45? Which of those two do you prefer? So C, 25% chance to win 30, or D, a 20% chance to win 45? So I'll just give it a second for some comments to come in. So in problem 1, most people preferred option A. In fact, 74% of people in a particular study choose option A over option B. So the expected return of option B is much higher, which is what Lucy went for. James Chisholm missed the question. Oh, James. Okay, one last time quickly. Problem 1, you're playing a game. I'll be interested to see how James answers this. So you're playing a game. It's in 2 stages. The first stage, there's a 75% chance that you'll end the game without anything. But there's a 25% chance you'll move to the second stage. If you move to the second stage, you have a choice between a guaranteed win of £30 or an 80% chance to win 45. But you need to make the choice now before you begin the game. Which option are you going to go for, James? A definite win of 30, or B, an 80% chance of winning 45? So A or B, James. And then problem 2, which of the following do you prefer? C, a 25% chance to win £30, or D, a 20% chance to win 45? So James is going with A, the definite win of 30. That sounds like James. And then C or D, the 25% chance to win 30 or the 20% chance to win 45. See, most people in problem 1, so James has gone with A and D. Lucy has gone with 45 for the first question, and she's put B, so I'm guessing she means D for the second question. So, 74% of people who were asked, I'm looking off screen to check my figures, said that they would go with option A over option B. So they would go for the guaranteed 30. But actually, the expected return of option B is higher. So in problem 2, people preferred option D, as did James, as did Lucy, with a rate of 58% over C, 42%. So not as big a difference in part 2. But the discrepancy between the answers in some ways is surprising, because actually when you break it down, well, when they did this study, the idea was they were expecting identical outcomes, and it didn't work that way. And so that's where this pseudo-certainty bias comes in. So when you actually break it down, 25% chance to move on, and then 100% chance of winning the £30. So 25% times 100% equals 25%. Which is the which is the same between A and C. And 25% chance to move on times 80% equals a 20% chance to win the 45, which is the same $9 expected return in option B and D. So it's interesting how our decision shifts for part 2 compared to part 1. And the reason for this is because when we look at that, what our mind does is it looks at part 1 and goes, right, so we have to win the first bit and then make our choice. Whereas in part 2, there's no multi-stage bit to it. So there's none of that pseudo certainty where you go, oh, well, I'm definitely going to win the £30, because actually you're not definitely going to win the £30, because there's only a 25% chance that you'll manage to get to that £30. I hope that's made sense there, the way that I've put that across. So in the first option, sorry, I'm laughing because I don't know if you heard in the background, but a police car's just gone by with its sirens on. And as it came round, the sheep in the field next to me all just darted away from the police. They're obviously up to no good. Focus, Duncan. Right, yes. So with part one, you've got those two stages to it, and you kind of forget to factor in part one because you're focused on part two. If I get through to the next round, I want to be guaranteed to win money. And the odds of that look good because you're guaranteed to win the money. But you're not guaranteed to win the money because there's quite a low chance of you actually getting to the point where you win that money. But when the odds are presented to you in a different way, you tend to make a different choice and a different decision. So that's all well and good talking about it in terms of mathematical problems and playing games, but what does this really mean and what's it really all about? Well, the simple thing to look for is if you're making a decision on something where you've got if A, then B, if I do this, then that, take the time to take a step back and think about the if and balance for both scenarios. So think, what decision would I want to make if A didn't happen? And what decision would I want to make if A did happen? Before you start to worry or wonder about B. Because if you just jump straight to B, chances are that's your default thinking coming in, and you're not really being logical about it. You're being impulsive about it, and you're skipping and ignoring the decision, the bigger picture of the decision to be made, coming down to that first part. So that's it. That's pseudo-certainty. It's kind of making an assumption that something's going to happen because you've begun factoring that into your decision-making process. So you then focus your decision in the wrong area. We use this in marketing as well. It's used very effectively by a lot of companies in their marketing, in that they get you to, it kind of plays into this whole, we would much rather escape a negative than run towards a positive, right? That's just something that's kind of ingrained within us. So you end up kind of distorting, if you like, the way you look at things, because the idea of part one feels different to problem two there, because you're thinking, oh, well, if I've got this far, I don't want to lose the fact that I've got this far. So you'll go with the £30, the option A. And then with option B, there's no will I win or lose to begin with. So it's not like you feel like you've got somewhere and then not got a result for it. You see? So that's how it can be used in marketing as well. Get someone to that point where they're invested or they're getting something of benefit and they want to carry on with it. Lucy says, I wonder if it would make a difference if it was more money. I think I would have changed my mind for the first one. Yeah. So there are definitely flaws to that experiment, and that experiment wasn't actually set up to test for pseudo-certainty entirely. That's actually where it kind of came about, where the idea was first identified and put forward, and it's been looked into subsequently since. So yes, I imagine to some extent it would make a difference if you changed the amount of money. It's a bias that there hasn't been as much research on as many of the others, but that's not to say that means anything, because there's lots of others that were considered to be absolutely 100% definite, positive, universal biases that we all do, which have subsequently been found to really not be the case at all, and be very specific to culture or that particular study and approach. And I'll talk more about them in another video. So that's pseudo-certainty bias, a brief one for today. Please join me again next week, where I'll cover some more cognitive biases. And if there's anything you want to know about, let me know. Hit me up in the comments or drop me an email or message or whatever. I was thinking, if you got that far, go all in for the win. It's not a huge amount. Yeah. So Lucy, check out Lucy's little profile picture there. That's a brilliant monkey. So Lucy Jackson's a wonderful artist, and she's been doodling stuff for I don't know what's the thing, Lucy? It's May, so it's like Make Art May or something. I don't know. And she's been doing a new doodle each day, and they've been awesome. Anyway, I got distracted today a couple of times, didn't I? I hope that didn't put you off. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all again next week. Bye for now.